You're listening to the Full 10 Yards of Britball podcast with your host, Timothy Lambert-Monk. Yes, welcome in one and all. This is the Full 10 Yards at Britball podcast. Week one is in the books, and I'm probably right in saying there's not really been too many major setbacks. We had one a bit early today, but we got onto that one shortly. But if you're tuning in for the first time, or if you're tuning in for however many podcasts we have done, thank you all so much for joining us. If you could subscribe to our channel, we're approaching the legendary century mark. So anyone out there that is watching, is listening, please give us a subscribe. That would do us a solid, as the young kids say. I don't know if they still do, but who knows? That's what I'm going to go with. But as you can see to my right, joining us as he did from week one, we brought him back for another week. Jason, good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, Tim. How are you?
Yeah, good. I was saying to Jason on the midweek, kind of the bonus podcast that we had on Tuesday, I said it was just so nice last week. And I know you visited one of the games live in person, but it was so nice for just to watch it on telly. Obviously, we had back-to-back games on via onside TV, and it was just nice to have it on the screen and just watching a bit of football. What was it like for you getting back on the sidelines?
Oh, it was lovely, just that fresh air and just having, hearing the hits and, just seeing players. And because I went to Hertfordshire, so they had good numbers. So, and, you thought about it not being a sort of a competitive season. Yeah, that's not going to happen. There was hits and, they would all G each other up. And
yeah, it's just not in the DNA. It's not in the DNA. Once you set foot on the field, you can't.
You're not going to practice just to have a bit of a friendly scrimmage with each other. So, and then it was nice to come back and watch Tamworth and Leicester. So, yeah, it's nice to have a busy Sunday again, sort of football-wise. Yeah, really good.
Yeah, and it's like anyone. Wasn't aware we did a podcast during the week with Jason, head coach of Tamworth Phoenix. Bit of insight into reaction from the game, how he felt the game went against it. It was a really good game, Jason, with Tamworth Leicester, wasn't it? What did you make of the game?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I thought Leicester's defence did really well. I know Tamworth, they've got such a deep running threat. They've got like 3 or 4 guys that can do damage. So to limit those, I thought they did really well. And showed some promise on offense as well. So, yeah. But I mean, Tamworth are crack defense. So they know their stuff. So it was a great game, much closer than I think anybody thought. So yeah, it was good to watch. And I'm a defensive man anyway, so it ticked all my boxes.
Yeah, and as I did, we won't go stew over it for too long. But what did you make of as the fixtures go across there from the results? Any main takeaways from you from week one? A couple from me was that I didn't anticipate the offenses struggling as much as they did. Only 11 of 34 teams scored 20 or more points, and there were 6 shutouts. 8 teams that scored between 6 and 9 points. There were more teams that scored less than 10 than there were that scored over 20. So again, yeah. It's probably there's going to be a lot of rust to get off of all these teams, and certainly there's a couple of teams that still looks like well-oiled machines, Manchester and whatnot. But any particular takeaways from you from week one?
Yeah, I think I expected offences to struggle really, because defence is so much easier to sort of get together quite early. So there was no real surprises there. I mean, Hereford struggled as well, so they usually do a good outfit. But like you say, it depends what they're going to use the games for as well. Hertfordshire had a lot of rotation, so there was like 2 or 3 quarterbacks on. So the 3 that sort of raised my eyebrows was obviously the London Blitz and Kent Exiles. Nearly pulled it off with the Blitz just getting a field goal towards the end there. Obviously Tamworth Leicester, that surprised me, and I think Bournemouth and Portsmouth. Especially considering our prediction picks.
Yeah,
we got totally wrong. So
yeah,
and I think you should have sort of like a warning that I really shouldn't be on here, because I remember my quote of, I don't know where Bournemouth are going to get some offense from.
Yeah.
What I'm doing here, I don't know, but there we go.
Well, Yeah, well, I'll say I was surprised more so that obviously Portsmouth was shut out, and I'd say I didn't expect it to be kind of didn't expect it to kind of be close. It's one of those that could have gone either way, but Bournemouth coming out obviously with the 20-0 win there. And whilst you mentioned obviously about the standings, obviously I might as well, whilst I can shout about it after week 1, you can see for 10 yards, yours truly leading the way. Obviously, the gap of 3 points looks bigger than it actually is, but it's 3 points per win. It's just a fact that I got 4, Britball in Vodcast got 3, and you guys got 2, but plenty of weeks left to go. We'll just crack on with the fixtures for this week that have been chosen. We've got the Monarchs and the Trojans, Senators, Vikings, Giants, Rams, Devils, the Eagles, and bottom one is an interesting game. Like say Bournemouth off the back of that win to Portsmouth against the Rushmore Knights. So keep your eyes peeled on social media and the UK American football scene Facebook group for who's going for what in those, and see if we, certainly from my perspective, can extend the lead and just keep that going. For me, a couple of surprises for me. Portsmouth shutout being one. The Kent Exiles, like you say, we're in agreement there with that. Any particular game as we head on to week 2, Jason, that you're particularly looking forward to?
Name Bournemouth again. I think see how they go against Rushmore. Rushmore, sort of ex-Premiership. So be really interesting. Really, really interesting how they get on against Rushmore. Obviously, you've got the Pasty Bowl down at Cornwall and Torbay. So, Monarchs actually, I think, will be favourites there for a change. And then opposite end of the scale, you've got Sheffield and Yorkshire. So them two are going to go at it. So be interesting to see what Toby Chesters does, the head coach of the Giants. Because I know we rested the second half. He put on the second and third. So if the score is close and it's local rivals, be interesting to see what he does.
Funny enough, I didn't pick those two. I picked those. But I picked Shropshire Leicester. I thought is one that I'm keeping my eye on. Like say Leicester obviously will be buoyed by the fact of how far they pushed Tamworth last week, and Shropshire got a feeling that they'll do okay this season. And then Hereford Worcestershire is a game lower down in the tiers. It's a game that I'm intrigued more than anything, because obviously Hereford's associate team in 2019. Worcestershire have had a bit of a tough time of it over the last couple of years, but obviously from what Ed was saying a couple of weeks ago, a month or two ago now, where he came on the podcast, he certainly gave me the impression that they're looking to play with a chip on their shoulder and put things right. So I think that'd be an interesting game, a bit further, maybe further down the pecking order in terms of level of competition. Competitive game, so we shall see how that goes. Okay, let's go on to week 2. They're not obviously as many fixtures as week 1, but there are some teams that will be playing their first game. Let's say Rushmore Knights obviously being one of them. But some really interesting games. Lincolnshire Bombers and the Nottingham Caesars is another one. That is quite interesting. But let's start at the top left then. So Rushmore and Bournemouth, like you say, Rushmore's first game, relegated Premiership South team. Bobcats shutting out Portsmouth, like we said, were a bit of a surprise to some. Which way do you think this is going?
I'm going to take Rushmore just. I think Bournemouth will give them a game. But, it's difficult when it's a team's first game. You can't really judge what's going on. But, I think Rushmore will have enough.
Yeah, so I agree. Swindon and Bristol Aztecs, their first games. Aztecs, like I've mentioned many a times over the last month or so, they will certainly be enjoying the less distance of a trip down to London, and just going down to. Well, obviously they're hosting this one, but they'll start off against the Aztecs, and then Colchester Gladiators against they travel to Cambridgeshire to face the Cats. Cambridgeshire won both of these back in 2019 via a shutout. SFC 1 East kind of match up. Do you see any chance for Colchester here, or is this going to be business as usual from their perspectives?
I would have thought the Cats would take this. Yeah, I think they've still got good numbers there, and very experienced side, and always seem to do well. So always hard to beat. And obviously Colchester went down, so we just wonder if there's a bit of a rebuilding job going on there. So I expect it's Cambridge. Yeah,
cool. Like you say, I mentioned there, obviously the Pasty Bowl. Monarchs, let's say, gave you a decent showing last time out in Torbay, but less so. Do you think this one will be close? Because you said that the Cornwall would be favourites this time. It kind of maybe indicates that you've changed your allegiances there on kind of where these teams are at.
Yeah, I think so. I think Cornwall have recruited really well, ironically from Torbay, so I hear. So Yeah, it could be. It could be. It might be closer than a lot of people think, but I think Cornwall will have enough. It was just in numbers, really. So yeah,
cool, fair enough. And then we move from the Pasty Bowl, and I've dubbed this one. I've only just realised. I only realised today when I was doing the kind of preparation for this. It's kind of the full 10 yards bowl because we've got Samwell Steelers and Crewe Railway. There's two teams, obviously that we're helping out. So yeah. You want my prediction?
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, I mean, to be honest, I was surprised that Samuel took a bit of time to get going last week. Obviously, I think it was at 19-0 for the top of my head, and obviously Crewe first time up, and again, they're obviously going to be there would be a couple of divisions below Samuel, so obviously I expect Samuel Steelers to take it. It'd be interesting to see what Crewe can do out of the gate. Obviously, mentioned out to. Hus Roberts, obviously the wide receiver. Hopefully you can get the end zone, buddy. And say if you're watching, hope you're doing well. Hope you're getting ready, and the butterflies are in the stomach for the first game. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see kind of how Crewe acquit themselves. I assume that you take Samuel for this one as well.
Yeah, I think so. I think Crewe will do all right though. So yeah, let's hope they get on the board. That'd be nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, best luck to Coach Smith and let's say Hus and obviously Samuel as well. Hopefully it'll be a good game. Hopefully it'll be a good game for both teams and get a lot of out of it. Okay, we'll move over to Northumberland at Gateshead then. Obviously, NFC 1 North matchup from 2019. Not again similar to was it Colchester and Cambridgeshire, but yeah, Northumberland winning both of these via a shutout. First games for both of these. Do you expect it maybe to be a low scoring, or do you expect Northumberland to still have too much about them? We had them on a couple of weeks ago as well, and they were quite looking forward to putting the pay down on most people.
Yeah, I think this might be the big one, the sort of the big score really. I think Northumberland will have far too much for Gateshead, who went down to Division 2. So yeah, I expect Bryce there to sort of give them a good run out.
Yeah, the Bryce and the guys that obviously we had on, was it Connor and the other name escapes me, and I apologise. But if you want to go and check that podcast out from a month or two ago, you can well do. But yeah, Bryce doesn't strike me as someone that's going to take the foot off the gas. He's just going to lay the hammer down. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how maybe a wider margin that is, especially from 2019 where it was a shutout as well in terms of Gateshead. So move over then to Manchester Titans, obviously one of the biggest scorers from week one. They travelled to Horton this time. A bit of a close one against Chester. I obviously had Horton down for a win in that one in my own predictions. Obviously, yeah, I'd say Jason, Manchester absolutely obliterated Lancashire last week. Bit of a step up again for Horton. Do you see Horton faring better?
Nope. No, I think the Titans have got that one in the bag really. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see if Manchester sort of get the third and the full stringers. If because their squad's absolutely massive. So what they do sort of second half. Yeah,
and obviously they get to play in the nice big old stadium as well over in Horton. Moving over to one of the games I was looking forward to. Nottingham Caesars, they squeezed past Northants last week, and I spoke to Jamie Phillips, who one of the guys we sponsor as part of our Flying the Flag scheme. He played for Northants, and he was saying that kind of both offenses didn't really gel. Two of the three touchdowns, I think it was, coming off of defensive turnovers. One being a pick six for Notts, and the Knights scored a fumble recovery as well. So essentially, it was a one-off offensive score game. So. Bombers' first game, obviously, they were 6-2 in the NFC 2 South last year. 2019. I've got this down for quite a close one, considering obviously maybe potentially Nottingham Caesars struggles from week one. Your thoughts?
Yeah. I think if they're going to be a shock, I think it might be this one. The Caesars always sort of start off slow anyway, so it'd be interesting to see if Lincoln can sort of hit it straight away, sort of thing. That they've had a squad that's been together a long time. So I can see an upset here.
Yeah. I think it might be a cagey low scoring affair. So Q 32-31 scoreline, but we should wait and see. It's amazing what maybe one game can do, and I say maybe Nottingham Caesars will feel they might have the edge because they've got rid of the rust from last week maybe and worked on a few things. But yeah, certainly one that I would be keeping my eye on in terms of result. Probably be a bit more straightforward for the Norwich Devils, who host the Ouse Valley Eagles. Ouse Valley obviously getting on the board last week with a field goal, but struggles from what I gather from through the grapevine. Norwich probably taking this one first game of the season.
Yeah. They've got high hopes as well. They've got a decent quarterback and receiver combo apparently at the moment. So my fellas are telling me. So yeah, I expect Norwich to do enough here. First game of the season might be a bit rusty, but yeah, I can see them taking this, I think.
Yeah, Ouse Valley losing to Ipswich for last week in week 1. One of the games, the other games I'm looking forward to actually, Chester Raymond's against the Merseyside Nighthawks. Obviously, Nighthawks, one of the other teams that we contribute towards. So obviously, best of luck to Andy Taylor. Obviously, he's the guy there we've spoken to. But yeah, best of luck to you guys. But Chester Raymond's obviously beating Horton from last week. Merseyside, obviously one of the best teams in the country. Obviously, Prem North team. Yes, they are. 6-3-1 2019 should take care of business in this one.
Yeah, it might be closer than a lot of people think, but I do like watching Merseyside. They're really good to watch. Explosive offense, really, really good once they're sort of firing all cylinders. Again, it might be sort of, COVID rust that keeps sort of Chester in the game, meaning that they've had that extra one. So it might be a lot closer. Chester have got a big squad this year, so might be able to stay with them a little bit.
Yeah, certainly we'd expect them. Yeah, it should be a bit closer than maybe the divisions might tell you, point you in the direction of. Hertfordshire, obviously, with those struggles last week that you went and saw, Jason, obviously rotation and whatever, they travelled to Oxfordshire, the Saints. They do have the last 2 wins over Oxford, though, Hertfordshire from 2019. But obviously, with the struggles last week, do you think that might carry over into week 2, or do you think again Russ might come off? Or it could be a close one, this one.
Yeah, it could be close. I think it might be closer than a lot of people think. So yeah, we'll see what Hertfordshire are going to do, whether they sort of want the win and sort of get their season going. So we'll see whether their sort of number 1 quarterback gets more time and hits a bit of stride with these receivers. So that was missing last week, most definitely. So.
Yeah, there was a fair amount of injuries last week, was there? I know there was quite a lot of rotation on both sides, and I know some. I think was it Wembley that kind of had their second, third, or fourth quarterbacks in due to rotation. Obviously, it was a difficult second half, not to watch a little bit, but obviously there wasn't a lot of points being scored on the board, mainly due to injury. Obviously, you're going to get a lot of injuries this first couple of weeks because the hits are going to start hurting it a bit harder because you're not used to them, are you?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, there's no such thing as a friendly in American football. So the hits are flying around. So yeah, there was 1 or 2 obviously, and then you've got your cramps and everything else towards the end. So, but that's just them just getting used to it, I guess. So no love lost there. But I was quite impressed with Wembley actually. They got a nice little passing game going.
Yeah.
Got some great receivers as well. So yeah, I was quite impressed with those. So, yeah. Look out for Stallions. I might do something.
Yeah, I don't know if obviously you were there, Jason, so you probably weren't privy to the commentary, but there was, they were talking. Was it a red or a pink outfit that Wembley were wearing? Because that's all they could talk about.
It looked red to me.
Jesus Christ! I mean, we haven't had Britball for 18 months, and we were arguing about whether the colour of Wembley Stallions uniforms red or pink. All right. Anyway, moving on. Yorkshire Rams get their season underway. Like I say, they travelled to the Sheffield Giants, who again got the job done in the first half against Nottingham Raiders in week 1. Sheffield Giants to get this one done again, or do you again Yorkshire?
So. Yeah. It might be tight early on, as Yorkshire come out and take a few hits, and like I said, it's a Yorkshire rivalry, so they're not going to sort of back down. So, but I expect Sheffield to sort of pull away if they're going to keep. If they want to win the game, I think they'll pull away sort of second half, fourth quarter. A couple of scores, I think.
Fair enough. Okay, let's move to Hereford and at Worcestershire. As I mentioned, it will be an interesting one for me because I say it's obviously we have Worcestershire on and Hereford. I must have wasted 5 to 10 minutes today scrolling through Hereford's Facebook page to just understand and get a bit more of understanding of their pedigree. But yeah, like I say, they were associated in 2019. Actually went 5-1 with 1 loss to the Northants Knights, which again, I know it's 2 years ago, but looks like a fairly-ish strong form line, I guess. And they did beat them the week prior in that associate season. They beat Torbay, Scunthorpe, and Somerset. Again, they're not teams that at the time or necessarily now, but pulled up any trees. But I'm quite interested to see which way this one goes.
Yeah, definitely. Hereford and more because I haven't seen them myself, but I've heard good things about their defence. Very strong. But the 3 of them, especially during the associate season, so you had Hereford, like you say, Northants and Scunthorpe. All 3, I think they'll do all right next year. So this is a great time for them to bed themselves in. But I've got a feeling they'll take Worcester. I think Worcester like I said last week, I think they're sort of starting from the floorboards up, if you like. just sort of rebuilding and see how far they get. So it might be quite close, but I expect Hereford actually to take this one.
Yeah, fair enough. I know, I say from scrolling through Hereford's Facebook, it's absolutely plastered full of recruiting. So I'll be interested to see what numbers what they've got as well, and all the rest. But yeah, no, it's quite a nice Facebook page. If you want to go check it out, go and check it out. But yeah, that'd be an interesting one. I'll certainly be keeping my eyes on the scoreline on that one. And then rounding us off, we have probably one of my games of the weekend: Shropshire Revolution travelling to Leicester. Again, we mentioned it at the start of the episode that Leicester pushed in Tamworth quite well, and surprisingly a few. I think this would be a really good game. Let's say Leicester's run defense was pretty good. I think these guys are going to be in the same division in 2022, aren't they? Shropshire beat Northumberland. I think was it in 2019 postseason, if I'm correct. They were beaten by Northumberland. I'm pretty sure. I think it was a shutout as well, if I remember correctly. I think it's like 30. Yeah, 30, something like that. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But you off the back of that performance against Tamworth, expecting Leicester to take this one at home?
Yeah, I think so. I'll just judging by, especially their defense, I was really impressed by the defense. So I know Shropshire have got their old sort of quarterback back, so he's pretty solid. So I expect them, like you say, give them a game. Shropshire will give anybody a game. So but I expect Leicester's sort of pedigree to win out there. Really, that's been live streamed as well, by the way.
Yes, sure. Yeah, I'll be certainly tuning in to that. Okay, well, that like I say, not as many games to pick off this week. Obviously, one bit of news that I think broke, was it today or yesterday, that Aberdeen have pulled out from the Scottish division. Was it Caledonia, isn't it? Yes, Caledonia. Yeah. No obvious reason as to why. I think they said that they had some lack of depth in certain positions as well. So obviously they're going to be moving on to focus on preparations for 2022. I joked obviously before we hit the record button, Jason, that I didn't think they fancied travelling all the way down to Glasgow a couple of times. But your thoughts on obviously Aberdeen, and a bit of a surprise because Aberdeen are kind of a team that. Not a household name, but a team that you expect to be there every week, and it was just a bit of an eyebrow raiser for me.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's the biggest name to sort of pull out, and like you say, they've made such good strides. I mean, into Division 2, they've established themselves in Division 1. I thought they always had good numbers, especially for where they are. So yeah, very surprised. But
it's not as if they've got kind of all the catchment area there, haven't they? They haven't got anyone trying to nab teams.
I guess so. But I'm hearing sort of low numbers for Portsmouth and Holton and Torbay as well. So, like I touched on last week, I guess some players sort of reevaluated, what they want to do with their free time now, or are still sort of fearful. Of COVID itself, not just to them, but for their families, maybe. So, yeah, it's a bit worrying. It'd be interesting to see if we see the season out and how many do pull out. It might be a little bit of a worrying trend this year.
Yeah, because I say we don't want to happen. Obviously, is 2 or 3 pull out in one division, then it's all knackered for the other 1 or 2 that might be in the division as well. If you just say hypothetically, if 1 or 2 come out of the London division, then that's that division screwed, and it's probably going to be scrimmages or whatnot. But again, fingers crossed. And like I say, hopefully not too many people get hurt, and not too many people succumb to COVID and all that kind of stuff as well. But yeah, obviously Aberdeen will be focusing on 2022, so hopefully everything is okay there. But so we'll bring more news as and when we have it, and as I say, Jason will post that into his Facebook group, UK American Football Scene. As you can see the banner on there, if you are not a member, make sure you go and do it. And again, just a reminder of the 5 fixture prediction competition fixtures. I think I've gone for, I didn't give you my predictions from last week, but obviously I've posted them in the chat already. So I've gone for Cornwall, Northumberland, Sheffield, Norwich, and I've gone for Rushmore as well, I think, in a one score game. So those are my predictions. So yeah, we'll keep your eyes peeled on social media for F10Y Britball, as you can see there. We will be back next week. We do have a bonus podcast coming soon. I've got a good interview coming up I'm recording it on Sunday, so probably at the time as all the matches are going on, there will be I won't divulge who it is, but it's quite a big name, so I'm delighted to have her and Laura Dye is also on as well. So obviously she's a member of our Flying the Flag scheme as she embarks on her coaching badges doing her level 1. But that's going to do it for this week. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks to Jason as always. So if you are watching on YouTube, please give us a subscription, hit that subscribe button, and get us over 100. That would do me a solid. As I said, I've really got to get that out of my head. My wife's been watching. What's she been watching? She's been watching like The Hills or some stupid American trash TV. So it's Jesus Christ. But yeah, come Sunday, I will be putting that Leicester stream on the TV. So we will be fighting that one out. But Jason, any last words from you? Anything you want to plug? Anything you want to promo? Anything you want to say? Any last thoughts you got?
We're hoping for a big name sort of during the middle of the season as well to come on just like a special podcast with me, Richard and Alan. So yeah, something to look forward to sort of midway through, sort of towards the end of July and sort of start of August. So we've got something lined up there. So
excellent.
Yeah.
I look forward to watching it. Okay, cool. Well, we'll be back maybe next week sometime, breaking down what happened in week 2, looking ahead to week 3. So hopefully you can join us then when we do it again, all for the game.